China is building machines that have left engineers around the world speechless. These machines are so efficient that they can build mega projects in a matter of days, working faster, cleaner, and way cheaper. While the rest of the world hasn't been paying attention, China has quietly overtaken the mega project industry.
They built a whole road in China in like a very short period of time, just using robots and AI. So this is no humans, man.
What are these machines, and how far can they push the limits of engineering? Iron Monster. The Iron Monster is perhaps China's most recognizable construction invention, and by far, it is the most impressive. This thing is a monster in the true sense. The 640-ton contraption is brought in when even the biggest cranes cannot get the job done. Here is how it works. The front part of the machine hangs off the bridge until it reaches the next pier. There, the front end anchors itself securely. Meanwhile, an entire bridge segment is brought forward and attached to the machine. It then hauls up the bridge segments, places them into the correct spot where they can be attached. The whole process is surprisingly fast, especially when you take into account the fact that, unlike a normal crane, this beast doesn't have to reach down to the ground to pick up the next segment. Additionally, while normal cranes can only move small segments of bridges, this machine can move segments spanning one pier to the other in one go. In a way, it builds its own path as it moves. And once that part of the bridge is constructed, the Iron Monster moves on to the next one using its 64 fully rotating wheels. At 299 feet long, 29 feet tall, and 23 feet tall, China has achieved something unprecedented with this machine. After all, it is the world's longest terrestrial vehicle, and for that size, it is surprisingly mobile, moving at 5 miles per hour while unloaded and 3 miles per hour under load. Because of this invention, China has been able to complete projects that would otherwise be impossible. It was used to build the Yibin-Jinsha River Railway Bridge, a project that cut the travel time between Sichuan and Guizhou provinces from 12 to just 3 hours. It also helped finish the Belt and Road project, a task considered equal to building the Silk Road all over again. In sections where bridges have to be built over deep valleys, this invention has proven invaluable. And when the roads need to go underground, China pulls out these next giant machines to get the job done. A lead in TBM. In just a span of less than 2 decades, China has become the global leader in tunnel boring machine construction. These machines are used to dig giant tunnels underground, through mountains, and even under rivers for all kinds of uses. Their large cutter heads slice through rock and mud alike. And while Germany and the USA used to be the biggest players when it came to producing these behemoths, that lead is now taken by China. And the reason behind that is pretty simple. Their TBMS perform better than the competition, are cheaper than the competition, and employ way better technology. Germany, Japan, America, no other country comes even close. But it wasn't always like that. Before 2008, China didn't have a single tunnel boring machine to call its own. For every project, they had to import TBMS from other countries. And that means a higher price point and smaller bore drills due to the transport limitations. But like anyone would tell you, China is a resourceful country. While they kept on importing the TBMS to keep their mega projects running, the government put an army of engineers to work. Their aim was to build the first ever Chinese-made TBM. In 2008, that mission was achieved, and things only improved from there. China slowly stopped importing the TBMS and started making its own. The engineers worked in shifts to develop better and better technology that would give China the edge. Over a decade, those efforts paid off. While the first TBM China built was small and was specialized for the terrain it was going to be used in, the later models were an improvement in every way. They were more versatile, capable of working in different types of terrain, be it rocks, dirt, or even clay. Additionally, the engineers had focused on improving the efficiency of the machines. While the rest of the world was taking months to dig tunnels, Chinese TBMs were racing along, doing the same amount of work in days. The designs just kept getting better and better, until eventually, China's TBMs began breaking records. In 2016, China built the world's first TBM, powered by a permanent magnet motor system. In just a matter of 8 years, Chinese engineers had perfected the craft to the point they were spearheading the advance into new technology that would make TBMs even better. And then, as if to boast their skills, Chinese companies built some of the largest TBMs in the world. The biggest of the bunch is the Shanghai TBM, with an excavation diameter of 54.5 feet. This thing is absolutely massive. It spans a staggering 475 feet in length and weighs 5,000 tons. And its purpose is just as impressive as its weight. This TBM is going to be used to dig a tunnel under the Yangtze River, creating the world's longest underwater highway. And to make that possible, the Shanghai TBM has been equipped with the most advanced Chinese inventions. For instance, it has a pressure-balanced cutter head and a monitoring system that monitors wear and adjusts the drill pressure accordingly. A dual slurry injection system has also been incorporated to improve efficiency. An impressive beast of a machine for an even more impressive feat. But this is only one of the incredible feats the Chinese TBM industry has achieved. Like the new TBMs they are developing that utilize blacksmithing techniques from the ancient past to build boring machines twice as heavy as the Shanghai TBM. You see, the China Railway Construction Heavy Industry Corporation has been developing a 1,000-ton heavy TBM that will become the largest of its kind in the world. The limiting factor when it comes to a boring machine this large is the force exerted by the surroundings during tunneling. For the normal metal that makes up the body of the TBM, the force gets higher the bigger the machine is, until a point is reached where the TBM breaks under the pressure. But China has found a way to solve that problem. The inspiration came from the Sword of Gujian, an ancient weapon from 496 BCE, still preserved in excellent shape due to its durability. And the secret behind that toughness was a blacksmithing technique where the metal was heated up and then cooled down using clay instead of water. This helped manage the temperature change more reliably, improving toughness in the metal. IC has copied the same technique, making the metal in their TBMs stronger. Strong enough to be scaled way larger without compromising on durability. The result is these 1,000-ton heavy machines that weigh more than the Eiffel Tower and can dig much longer tunnel sections without a hitch. China has also pioneered a different type of TBM that is rectangular in shape rather than circular. These types of boring machines create tunnels that do not require much further work to be of use and make more sensible use of the available space. Additionally, they provide a more stable tunnel than a circular one. This Chinese wonder has also found use across the globe as a better alternative for utility tunnel digging. And it's not just these engineering marvels either. China, a country that used to import its TBM, has now become the world's biggest exporter of the same technology. 7 out of 10 TBMs working around the world are Chinese-made. That is a complete turnaround over a span of barely 17 years. China supplies several mega projects around the world, including the US, the Middle East, and Western countries. And fueling this growth is the country's constant improvement of the technology involved. China has set up a research and design institute that focuses solely on improving the main bearing design for TBMS. With that kind of dedication and resources, it's no wonder they are so far ahead of the rest of the world. But TBMS aren't the only major construction lead that China has. There is another monster of an invention that China has deployed to the sea. Its nickname speaks for itself: the Island Maker. MV Tiankunhao. The MV Tiankunhao is a ship deployed by China for one specific purpose: making islands. This thing is a powerhouse with every possible equipment needed to achieve that task. So how does it work? Well, the ship has an extended arm at its front that it lowers into the sea, reaching the seabed. There, the attached dredger head digs up the soil, silt, and sand, which is sucked in using a pump. This sand can then be thrown at a remarkable distance of over 9 miles. After that, it's only a matter of piling up this discharged sand until an island is created. While similar machines do exist around the globe, this one, made in China, is on another level. It can dig up way more sand and throw it much farther, allowing for a larger island to be built in just a matter of days. As a matter of fact, this thing can dig up 6,000 cubic meters per hour, creating a pile of equivalent size on the other end. But why does China need this beast? According to China, they just want to extend their coasts, fix erosion, and use it to aid in construction projects out in the sea. But the truth is a bit more controversial. According to experts, China intends to use this massive dredger to create islands in areas of dispute with other countries. By creating an island, China can claim that its sea boundaries are extended, since the island is now considered a part of the country's territories. And with more and more precious resources like oil being discovered on the seabed, in regions where China is in dispute with Japan, Vietnam, and the Philippines, this is a rather ingenious yet controversial tactic the country is expected to use. But leaving the politics aside, one cannot help but be impressed by the engineering at play with the MV Tiankunhao. Its massive size of about 460 feet is spacious, no doubt, but to fit such a powerful pump system, dredger apparatus, and other facilities in that space is insane. This thing is a floating factory, in a true sense. One that doesn't produce nuts or bolts, but islands. And it's not like China is a stranger to building massive machines. After all, they built some of the biggest cranes in the world. Biggest cranes. When it comes to cranes, China is way ahead of the rest of the world. And that lead can be clearly seen from all the records they hold for their gigantic cranes with lifting capabilities that make foreign cranes look like toys. Let's start off with the absolute masterpiece, which is the XGC 88000. This behemoth is the largest crawler crane in the world. Standing at over 470 feet tall, with a weight of 5,350 tons, this beast holds the record for being the largest self-propelled ground vehicle by gross size. But that huge size isn't just for show. This crane can lift loads of up to 4,000 tons with ease. China rolls out this behemoth for the most demanding projects, where a standard crane is grossly outclassed by the amount of weight that needs to be lifted. And since this crane is designed to be mobile, it can be disassembled and reassembled for transportation. A true marvel of Chinese engineering in flesh. But even this legendary machine pales in comparison when we look at some of the other cranes China has built. Take the Typhoon, for example. China built this gantry crane to be the most powerful crane in the world. It lifted a piece weighing 20,133 tons, setting the world record that has remained unbroken since. This gantry crane was used mainly to build boats in a more efficient manner, where larger sections were stacked and installed on top of each other, rather than being built as smaller, more manageable pieces over a longer period of time. Now, you may think this is the most impressive gantry crane China has ever built. But you would be wrong. Since the construction of the Taisun, China has erected an even bigger monster. Known as the Honghai crane, this gantry crane was built in 2014, and since then, it has been in operation, helping construct ships. Standing over 400 feet tall, this crane has been engineered to lift much higher weights than its predecessor. It is rated to lift a maximum load of 22,000. Combine that with the 11,000 tons heavy structure of the crane itself, and we are talking a total of 3,030 tons of weight being moved on rails if the Honghai crane is carrying its maximum capacity. That's some really impressive engineering. And China takes it all to another level when it comes to building in the sea. Because for that purpose, they have built the Zhenhua 30. This gigantic crane is also a ship made to facilitate mega projects that are built on or below the sea. Capable of lifting 12,000 tons in one go, this crane has been used extensively to bring complex projects to fruition, like the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge's underground tunnel sections. The entire ship has been built around facilitating the crane section, with proper anchoring points and even a hoist system to further increase its lifting capacity to 13,600 tons. Now, while all these are impressive accomplishments, no doubt, nothing beats the workhorse of China's crane industry, which is the XCMG XCA 4000. Despite being a wheeled crane, this thing boasts a maximum height of nearly 560 feet and a lifting capacity of up to 4,000 tons. That makes it ideal for all kinds of mega projects, not just in China, but also abroad, where these cranes are imported to get tasks done that no other crane can achieve. China has been using this model to erect wind turbines all across the country for its push for green energy reliance. It is the perfect height to erect the main column. Not only that, but it is also capable of easily lifting the 28-ton blade to heights of 530 feet in the air to be attached. All these cranes show just how far ahead China is when it comes to this technology. They are building the strongest and most reliable models in the world, and just like TBMS, they are coming out to be a major exporter of this technology. But this isn't the only tech they are pioneering, because China has also made major headways when it comes to modular construction. Modular buildings. China is investing heavily in modular building, and it shows in the headway they have made in making it a viable construction technique. And being the first one in the game, they have developed the whole process into a work of art. So, what is modular building? Well, in China, there is a growing trend of building parts of a structure beforehand in a factory. These sections are then taken to the construction site, where they are put together. Kind of like Legos, only on a much larger scale. And, well, there are tons of advantages to this construction method. First of all, there is much less noise and pollution at the work site. No flying dust, loud noises, or spills to deal with. But the real reason why modular construction is gaining so much popularity in China is that it is insanely fast. A Chinese company was able to build a 10-story apartment complex in just 28 hours and 45 minutes using modular construction. But that was only the beginning. The same company next built a 26-story high skyscraper in a mere 5 days. That is some insane levels of efficiency. But China is making it possible. Not only that, but this modular construction technique has also proven to be great for emergencies. During the coronavirus epidemic, China achieved a feat that saved many lives. They built a 2-story tall, 1,000-room hospital using modular construction in the span of 10 days. This allowed more patients to be treated when hospitals were being flooded. There are also companies that specialize in building container homes and other facilities using modular components appearing out of China that could be used for humanitarian purposes or for normal residents. You can basically order a complete home for relatively cheap, which will be assembled at your plot of land. But, to be honest, what we are seeing is only the beginning. China is serious about this construction technique, and we may see it being used in almost every project, whether large or small, in the near future. After all, there is no downside to it. This method is quicker, efficient, and way less of a hassle for the neighbors. As for the places where even modular construction isn't really possible, China has another ace up its sleeve, which it has been developing for a long time now. 3D printing. China has started to 3D print its buildings, and the world is in shock at how well it works. They have developed these giant machines controlled using a computer that lay down a mix of cement and construction waste layer by layer. The arms move precisely, ensuring each new layer is placed exactly where it should be. And by doing this, the machine builds entire homes, monuments, and even bridges. And here is the thing. The buildings built this way are pretty reliable. They function perfectly while also being durable and insulating. But the biggest advantage of 3D printing homes is that it is fast. China is urbanizing at an unprecedented rate. Now, living spaces and commercial hotspots are being built constantly. And while building a house the traditional way takes days, even months, that span is cut short significantly with 3D printing. One machine can finish a home in a matter of hours. One Chinese firm managed to build 10 full-sized houses in just one single day. They didn't cut corners either. The houses they built had windows, roofing, and a strong base. And building that 10 times over in a day is a seriously impressive achievement. According to most experts, 3D printing structures are the future. And China is actively living that very same future. They built the world's tallest 3D printed building. They also built the Boulder Park, with all the structures inside 3D printing. And currently, China is working on an even more ambitious plan. They are aiming to construct a 590-foot tall dam, which, as you can guess, is going to be entirely 3D printed. These kinds of achievements show that while the rest of the world is looking at this tech as a novelty construction technique never to be taken seriously, China is actively implementing it. Not just that, they are planning to employ it in their future projects. And it isn't just a matter of advancing the 3D printing tech. What the rest of the countries are failing to see is the potential for reducing operational costs massively by using this construction technique. You see, once the operator has inserted the required design into the 3D printing machine, there is no need for a human to be present except to refill the materials. A construction site that would take a dozen workers can be operated by a single person instead. That reduces the project cost massively. Now, while 3D printing is still being developed, with new and better tech being added to improve reliability and efficiency, this next workhorse of the Chinese construction world has already been perfected. Concrete pumping. China builds some of the world's tallest concrete pumps, and there is a good reason why. You see, concrete pumps are incredibly efficient. They can reduce the time and effort needed to get the concrete from the mixer to the place where it is supposed to be. And this is doubly as useful when it comes to the high-rising buildings China has been pushing for the last decade. But getting the concrete to a 10-plus story building is no easy task. It requires sophisticated engineering and some very powerful pumps to achieve. But China has mastered this tech for a while now. For instance, the country holds the record for the tallest concrete pump in the world. The Zoomlion Sifa boom pump has a staggering 330 feet tall boom. That means it can pump concrete to the highest floors of most buildings with ease. And if the building has to be taller, China has a solution for that too. They have developed some of the most powerful line concrete pumps in the world that use a tube to deliver the concrete to the target area. Using this tech, Chinese companies have been able to deliver concrete to skyscrapers as high as 2,037 feet, as was the case with Building 117. This feat earned China a world record, one that is likely not going to be broken anytime soon. Now, while these massive machines are certainly boosting China's construction spree, there are other advances the country is making that are revolutionizing how we build. Forefront of technology. China has been making major headway when it comes to advanced tech for its construction projects. For instance, China has incorporated AI in every aspect of its construction industry, from helping with designing to the actual construction process itself. China is taking the next step by combining AI with autonomous vehicles. Basically, they are creating work sites that are completely automated, requiring no human interference. The new models of excavators, cranes, and other heavy machinery are coming built-in with remote control technology. And China is hooking these up with AI. Without the need for any operator, these machines, powered by artificial intelligence, can complete an entire mega project on their own. And this is not some technology that is still in the world we may or may not get to see. Turns out, China is already employing this construction technique in some of its most ambitious projects, like the Yangkou Dam, which is going to be built entirely by AI and automated heavy machines. And for the jobs that do require human input, like bricklaying and plastering, China has the perfect solution. The country has been hard at work designing robotics that can do these tasks quickly, more efficiently, and much cheaper. Chinese companies are manufacturing robots that specialize in laying down bricks, plastering walls, evening out the concrete, and nearly every other such task. Soon enough, China would have every construction project being automated without a human in sight. No injuries from workplace accidents. And to be honest, many fewer mistakes. But what do you think it would mean for the people who would lose their jobs to these robots? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts.